I'm WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Tito Santana.
This is Kurt Angle.
This is Bret the Hitman Hart, and this is going out to Scott and Holly.
You are listening to the
Win Twice Wrestling Podcast
with Scott and Holly.
Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
And this ho's for everybody. Ho!
Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to listen to the incomparable Win Twice Wrestling Podcast with your hosts, Scott and Holly. We always go over, brother, and that's the bottom line. Dig it? So sit back, relax, and prepare to be entertained.
When you talk about the golden era of professional wrestling, when it crossed from smoky arenas into the bright lights of mainstream culture, you can't begin the conversation without Hulk Hogan. He wasn't just a wrestler, he was a phenomenon. In the 1980s and early 90s, Hogan was professional wrestling, with his 24-inch pythons, his red and yellow gear, and his immortal catchphrases, "What you gonna do, brother?" He brought charisma, spectacle, and star power that transcended the ring. He headlined WrestleMania after WrestleMania. He shared stages with Mr. T, crossed into Hollywood, and helped Vince McMahon transform the WWF into a global empire. Hogan was the superhero for the working class American, a muscle-bound, flag-waving icon who preached vitamins, prayers, and belief in yourself. And for millions of kids, he really did feel like a hero. But like any legend, Hogan's story is complicated. In the ring, he was a trailblazer, but he was also part of an industry built on control and ego. Hogan's political influence backstage was infamous. Younger talent were often held back or buried to preserve his spot on top. Whilst fans were ready for new faces, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels and others, Hogan often ensured the spotlight remained fixed on himself. And then there's the darker side, off camera. The revelations in 2015 of Hogan's racist comments were not just shocking, they were deeply hurtful. For a man who spent decades preaching inclusion and brotherhood, those words cast a shadow over everything he'd built. Wrestling fans, especially black fans, were forced to reckon with the painful contradiction of loving a hero who had betrayed the values he claimed to stand for. His apology, though public, was met with skepticism, not just because of what he said, but because of how often the wrestling industry looks the other way. The Hogan scandal wasn't an isolated case. It was a symptom of a wrestling culture that too often protected its icons, even at the expense of accountability. Wrestling has long been a reflection of broader society, its triumphs and its failings, and Hogan's legacy is a mirror held up to both. Yet legacy isn't about perfection, it's about truth. Hulk Hogan helped build the modern wrestling industry. He inspired generations of fans and wrestlers alike, but he also embodies the complex, often contradictory nature of wrestling itself, a place where legends are made, but rarely without cost. To understand Hogan is to understand the heights wrestling can reach, and the depths it sometimes refuses to confront. In the end, Hulk Hogan will always be a cornerstone of wrestling history, but history is not worship, it's reflection. And maybe the best way to honour that legacy is not to erase the flaws, but to learn from them. Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 80 of the Win Twice Wrestling Podcast alongside your hosts Scott and Holly.
Hello.
Hi Holly, it's a bit of a sombre occasion this one.
A little bit.
Bit out of sorts as well from the usual type of show that we put together because we're not reviewing a previous event of any description. I mean, I guess the closest we've come to this so far is covering the Mr. McMahon documentary series on Netflix, but that was obviously us still watching the content of that show to then do a formal review. But the wind has been taken out of our sails a little bit, even more so for our editor, in fact, with the loss of Hulk Hogan. Wrestling died. Professional wrestling died. We'll touch upon, the good, the bad, and the sex tape as we go on through this recording, and we'll try and shy away from pretty much nothing. But as soon as this happened, I was like, we've got to do something for this. Because if ever there was a person to do an episode like this for, like him or hate him, it's Hulk Hogan.
Oh, yeah.
How did you find out, first of all?
I was driving, actually. I was driving to El Madres, and actually I think you put it on our WhatsApp group, and it came through my car radio.
Bloody hell, that's depressing.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah.
You're just ambling along, like,
I
good,
was
I finished
listening to
work.
my country music, having a little sing-song.
Bit of Florida Georgia line, and then suddenly Hulk Hogan's dead.
Yeah, it literally was that, and I think I pulled up at Mum's a couple of minutes later and read through, because I think Jamie had jumped on it pretty quick as well.
He did, yeah, he was instant.
You two were already having a bit of a back and forth. And that I was just reading through it, really, and I was like, oh, it feels a bit weird. Going to El Madre's house, she freaking knew.
Did she?
First thing she said to me as I walked through the door, she said, I've just heard. And I was like, heard what?
Yeah, I texted your mum first. I knew she'd be,
considering that woman hates wrestling, she was like, he's dead. And I was like, who? And I was like, oh, Hulk Hogan, okay.
But do you know what's strange about that? Because, you know this anyway, like, I've referringly talked about my mum as Death Note before, or the Grim Reaper, because she always had this habit of, if someone famous died, whether I like them or not, she'd call me and just say, oh, did you hear about this person dying?
Yeah.
It's like, Christ almighty. I was like, good job she didn't have like a whole file of facts for the entire world, otherwise there'd be long phone calls. But yeah, and this one, she never called me for. And when I spoke to her on the phone, I think it was the day after or 2 days later, I said, how come you didn't call me to tell me about, weirdly, like I missed it.
Yeah.
How come you didn't call me? And she went, well, I just assumed it was so big you'd have heard about it. And I was like, well, yeah, but...
You've done it for all the others.
You've done it, exactly, you've done it for all the others. You told me about Chris Benoit, even though obviously he knew his entire family had died.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember, actually, she told me in the car about Eddie Guerrero. Because, like, how's my mum finding out about wrestlers dying before me? But anyway, she did. But yeah, so she didn't notify me on this one. And it's come at a weird time as well, because there were the rumours going round that he was on life support. In fact, it was Bubba the Love Sponge, a reliable source of information for all things Hulk Hogan, saying that he was on his deathbed and he couldn't talk because of the surgery he's had on his neck.
Oh. Because I read somewhere that Jimmy Hart, my favourite man, had actually said he's okay-ish.
He said he was, he said he certainly wasn't on his deathbed and he was at home with his family.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, I did find a small bit of humour in the fact that within 24 hours of him saying that, he did pop his clogs. I mean, it's not a good look. No. It's not a good look. Obviously, Jimmy Hart's got a long and storied history with Hulk Hogan as well. But it felt weird.
Yeah.
It felt like I'm trying to... I don't know how I'm going to articulate it, but I felt a bit numb.
Okay.
Like, it didn't upset me like other deaths had, but I didn't know how to react to it either.
Yeah.
So I felt like something's missing, but I can't place it.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of how did I feel when Eddie died, and that hit me. Okay. When Owen died, that hit me. But even Ultimate Warrior hit me a little bit harder than Hulk Hogan. But I guess growing up, I was never the Hulk Hogan guy.
Right, okay.
I was the Warrior guy, and then quickly went to Brett and Sean in turn,
right.
And then went from there. But not to say I didn't like Hulk Hogan.
No, but he just wasn't
He wasn't my guy.
Your guy. Whereas, obviously, we know, for example, if you asked Jamie, for example, this question, it's a very different story because he was his guy. And
I don't think Jamie, well, maybe he would admit to this, to be fair. And I haven't asked him, but I reckon he probably shed a tear about that. Like, I think it hit him, and that's not to, make a joke at his expense. Not. I just think that hit him really hard.
Well, I think it does when you've grown up with someone and you've watched them on telly, you've seen them in because you guys saw.
Yeah, we saw Hulk Hogan in person. I'm going to get to that later.
And I guess, yeah, if it has that much of an impact, I mean, if I'm going to be totally honest, it didn't affect me. It's sad, but I weirdly have been. I've not been of sound mind the last couple of weeks, shall we say, anyway, for my own reasons. So I feel like when it has hit me, it's not hit me because of the wrestling thing. It's hit me because like the whole family thing really bothers me.
So do you kind of associate like any kind of death and refer it to
At the
other
moment,
circumstances?
yeah, I think because of the time of year, obviously, like I lost my dad, fairly recently.
Yeah.
So weirdly, at the moment, any death, I just go, oh my God, imagine how XYZ feels.
Because you've lived it.
Because, yeah, I don't know how it feels, as many other people have. But it did feel a bit odd.
That's the word I would use to describe it as well, is odd. Like I said, almost numb.
Yeah, just it does feel like there's a bit of the jigsaw missing.
Yeah.
And it's just a bit strange.
I feel like I'm waiting for it to suddenly hit me.
Yeah.
Like, if we're relating it to family stuff. So when I found out my grandma had passed away, what would that be now? 2021. I remember being upset when I first heard, but I was relieved because I knew she was suffering. And then I didn't get upset about it again. And I thought I'd be okay at the funeral. And as soon as I saw the coffin go by, straight waterworks. But so I was kind of... Part of me's expecting for this to be a delayed hit.
Yeah.
So, like, I've kind of gone, nah, it's not real. Like, I'm waiting for him to kind of turn up on Raw and drop the leg on Gunther and be the world champion again. And then shit on Goldberg in the process because he didn't get the right send-off. Fuck off. But it's just, it's bizarre. Yeah. And it didn't feel right. So, originally we had scheduled to do the first part of WrestleMania 20.
Gonna be real. I have not watched enough of it anyway.
That's fine.
So just putting it out there.
I've watched roughly half of it, so I'm near enough there.
I've probably watched half of half.
Yeah, I will say this though as well. You've got the ability to go through it a bit quicker than me, so it's more of a concern if I'm behind.
Do you mean my notes aren't as concise and detailed as yours? The answer is yes.
No, they are more concise.
No, concise means less.
Yeah,
right?
concise and detailed is the
compact.
Yes, there you go. But that's kind of how it works in terms of the back and forth. So it's more minor, more laborious and onerous. But yeah, we had to. So we're pushing that back a week. So don't worry, we'll still be doing WrestleMania 20 next. But with Hulk Hogan for you,
yes,
because you weren't actively watching when he was in his pomp.
Nope.
So your proper exposure to Hogan, apart from bits and pieces in later years, with the likes of kind of Triple H and Rock, and even that's probably limited.
Very.
Is through this podcast.
Basically, yeah.
So
wrestling wise, yes.
Yeah. Oh, well, don't get me wrong. We'll get to the reality TV aspects of it later.
But yeah, for me, wrestling wise, that's why for me personally as well. I can only speak for me. It's not like I wasn't bothered. But I was a bit like, it's sad because I know, like to me, if you ask most people on the street about name a famous wrestler, most of them are going to say Hogan.
They'll either say that or The Rock, I think.
Yeah. So I was like, God, it is a big deal. But also I didn't grow up watching him. I didn't, even when I was watching wrestling, he wasn't really around.
He was in WCW.
And I have bare minimal to no. Again, the only stuff I've seen is what we've looked at. So it kind of, looking back on it, for me will be more of a, we watched this and I've seen him grow through what we've done, but that's obviously recently. So
which is quite handy as well, because it kind of like dovetails with a lot of the stuff we've done in the show, because obviously we've got the March Through the Manias series, and he was the key player.
He was Mania. Yeah.
He was exactly that. He was WrestleMania, but he did a lot before WrestleMania, like in terms of like his career.
Okay.
So I just like the fact that his name's Terry.
Yeah.
It just doesn't look like he should be a Terry.
Tez.
Well, if you like, okay, so you're to be fair, like his mum didn't pop him out and go, "You look like a," because no one goes, "You look like a Terry." No one's ever done that, and he doesn't look like he's in his full Hulkamania gear.
Yeah, but born with a stash,
exactly. But
and a bandana.
But looking at him as an adult, what name do you think suits him? Because I don't know what it is.
Oh, I don't know. You know,
Hank looks like it would work because it feels like an all-American type name as well.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But what would you go for?
Bruce.
Bruce. Bruce-omania's running wild.
I think he could rock the name Bruce.
Keith?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like it needs to be strong but traditional as a name as well. Hank is probably not a traditional name, I'd say, but...
Like proper American.
George?
Yeah.
Barack? No, I don't think he'd suit a Barack.
I don't know.
But yeah, we'll go with Bruce, because I just want him to be called Bruce now.
I like the name Bruce.
So what do you know of Hogan's early life?
I will be totally honest with you, not a lot.
Did you know he used to slap that bass?
Sorry?
Slap that bass?
Is
Slap
that
at a
an
bass?
instrument reference?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, he used to be a bass guitar player.
Really?
Yeah, that's actually how he was spotted originally, and suggested, have you ever thought about going into pro wrestling? Because he's legitimately, 6'7", 6'6", 6'7". So he's a big guy standing at the back of a band, and he was in fairly good shape even back then.
Right.
And he stood out, and someone spotted him and said,
so random.
I think you should go and potentially give this pro wrestling thing a try.
Imagine if someone had never said that.
He might have, it's all, I don't know if you believe in like destiny and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
But there you go,
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was also quite a keen baseball player, as I understand it.
Okay.
Rumour has it that he was being scouted by, I want to say it was the Knicks or something stupid, but not the Knicks, sorry, you twats, the Yankees, but I struggle to believe that, to be perfectly honest. But more interestingly, his whole character and gimmick,
Yes.
it's so unique for that time to a point, but if you kind of look at it in more detail, you can see he's taken a little bit from this person, a little bit from that person, and he's kind of meshed it all together.
Okay.
So in terms of who he's kind of leaned from, there's two that come to mind immediately.
I'm not going to know who they are.
No, you'll know who both of them are.
Oh.
The first one, superstar Billy Graham. Tie-dye T-shirt. We saw him come out.
I do know who that is.
Yep, he also had the blonde stash, but actually when he was in his pomp, if you Google younger superstar Billy Graham, and you even see some of the poses he does, one of them is like a Hogan pose with the side gun show.
Is that who that is?
That is who that is. There.
Sorry, I'm pointing at a
figgy.
Thank you. I don't know what the word is.
Collectible is the correct word, Holly.
Action figure.
So I've got superstar Billy Graham on the shelf, but this is the version that you would have seen when he was doing the managerial
and he's
role.
wearing that outfit.
And he's wearing that outfit, yeah.
Wow. Sorry, this is a lot of... Look at this. This is what I'm looking at.
So Holly's basically stumbled upon a picture with classic superstar Billy Graham when he was the WWF champion.
He's absolutely yoked.
He was absolutely yoked, and that caused him a lot of health issues. He was a big fan of the steroids.
Okay, right.
And rumour has it he was one of the individuals that turned Mr. Hulk Hogan onto the steroids in his early days.
I see, right.
The other influence on the Hulk Hogan kind of character, Dusty Rhodes, baby.
Oh, really?
The fast talking man of the people, and if you see like the way he kind of points and stuff and does very quick talking, very animated. Superstar Billy Graham did that as well, to be fair, but Dusty Rhodes was a master of the craft, and Hogan took a lot of the characteristics from there. Interestingly as well, a story between Dusty Rhodes and Superstar Billy Graham, they actually had a brief feud over the WWF title back in the 70s, and at the time it was debated if Dusty Rhodes was going to be the guy going forward for the company as the Hulk Hogan push.
I see.
It didn't pan out. Dusty ended up going back down south. He had booking responsibilities, and obviously what became of Dusty Rhodes is clear for all to see. So it's not like he lost out.
No.
And I guess we'll touch upon hypotheticals later on.
Oh, okay.
But Dusty Rhodes and Superstar Billy Graham had a pretty interesting feud in the 70s as well in the Garden. And Dusty Rhodes was mad over. And they did one of those fake finishes, which, funny enough, eventually would get the phrase a Dusty finish, where it looks like Dusty Rhodes has won the world title, but because of a technicality, he hasn't. So Superstar Billy Graham walked away with the title.
I watched the Cody Rhodes the hot wings thing last night, and he was talking
with
about...
Jamie. Yep.
He was not actually with him, let's just clarify.
When I say with Jamie, I
the
meant...
guy that looks...
Basically, the guy
like
that
him.
hosts the show is probably the closest celebrity lookalike that we've got to our editor, Jamie, and Holly did an AI image, and Jamie thought that he looked exactly like that guy, so that's why I made that reference. But as you were saying, sorry.
And he, oh no, hang on, maybe it wasn't that. Because I also watched his podcast that he did with Nikki Bella the other day.
Oh, did he do this much? Oh,
no, he
loves
didn't actually do that, but he did that on the Wing one.
Brilliant.
And I can't remember which one it was because I'm now getting confused. But he talked about the Dusty finish.
Yes.
And how Dusty didn't like it, but actually it became a thing. And now I understand what that means when people say
it's
what
basically it's used used sparingly. It's good, but it became a bit of a trope that Dusty was always using this because effectively creates a false finish to create intrigue because people then want to come back, pay the money to see it again. And anything you can do ultimately, because however you want to look at pro wrestling, the key metric is will people pay to see it? Right. And if people won't pay to see it, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And yeah, so the Dusty finish was exactly that. Do you know who trained Hulk Hogan?
No.
I'm not going to lie, you won't know him anyway.
Okay.
But a Japanese gentleman by the name of Hiro Matsuda down in Florida. And Hiro Matsuda was known to be a very, very tough trainer to the point where he would, I don't want to say take advantage of the people that he was training in terms of physically, because you could argue the same about Stu Hart as well in the dungeon, where he'd tie these people up in knots, make them pass out, and people think if they come back, you're tough enough to do this.
Okay.
Hiro Matsuda played a bit of tough love with Hulk Hogan, put him in a leg lock, applied it a bit too deeply, broke his leg.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Hogan came back.
Wow.
Hogan came back. And then, again, thinking about these hypotheticals, what if Hogan never came back after Hiro Matsuda broke his leg?
Wow, okay.
So he came up the hard way. He didn't get an easy ride. Like, to some people who maybe don't know the full Hulk Hogan backstory, you think, oh, he just burst onto the scene and got this rocket up his arse that went straight to the top. But he was working in territories before he came to the WWF. And in fact, when he first came to the company, it was the WWF, and it was Vince McMahon Sr. that was running the shop.
Okay.
He was popular then. And do you know his original wrestling name as well at that time?
No.
Sterling Golden.
Oh, okay.
So some of the old boys, like when I say old boys, people that are no longer with us, used to refer to him as Sterling quite a lot.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, that's a side story. And he did quite well in the WWF at the time. He was, a heel as well, I should say. He wasn't a babyface. And then an opportunity came up for him. And that opportunity was to play Thunderlips.
Oh, okay.
In Rocky 3.
Yes.
And he went and spoke to Vince Sr. and said, look, I've been offered this opportunity. I'd like to go do it. Vince Sr., absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's not what we do as professional wrestling. It's he thought it could bring potential shame having a wrestler do something that's also, I'm going to say in air quotations, fake, and might bring disrepute to the wrestling industry further. It's silly when you think about it in hindsight. But he said, no, you can't do it. Hogan thought about it and went, well, I'm fucking doing it. And Vince Sr. was like, okay, you can, but you ain't coming back here.
Wow.
And Hogan went, okay. Went and did the film.
Oh, okay.
And there was a period where, so he was blackballed from the WWF at the time. So where'd you go when you were blackballed from that territory? Well, you could go a few places. He went to the AWA, so kind of Minnesota base, where you're familiar with.
Yeah.
Having been there in the not too distant past, under Vern Gagne. And Vern Gagne is, if you're looking at, remember we were talking about the territorial days a while back. If you're looking at the big three, you got the WWF, you got NWA, Jim Crockett Promotions, and you got the AWA. They're the big three.
Right.
AWA had this issue for a number of years where it was actually very popular. It broke off originally from the NWA because Vern Gagne, who was the owner, booker, everything basically to that company, was only ever considered like a light heavyweight as a competitor, where physical size actually meant something in terms of the professional wrestling. I know we've got cruiserweight titles and there's kind of weight limits on that, but back in the day they used to have like light middleweight title, all these different kind of, like as if it was boxing or something like that. Yeah. And he was only ever seen as being good enough to be not the heavyweight because he's not big enough. Yeah. He's not believable. And he had a very good amateur background, did Vern Gagne. So when he went off and created his own thing in his home territory, he's trained a lot of wrestlers, like Ric Flair went through Vern Gagne. Yeah. Honestly, if I tried to rattle off a list of all the people that went there, you'd be shocked.
Wow.
big training factory for new talent. Hogan went and worked with him.
Okay.
So a couple of things. Vern, which I kind of touched upon already, is very much a traditionalist. And for many years, he booked himself as the AWA champion. Not because, and that wasn't a bad thing to say he was unpopular. He was very popular. But he's still booking himself as a champion going like into his 50s. And he looks in his 50s. And he's still tough. Okay. He's still a tough man.
Yeah.
But they never had that right person to kind of carry it on. They had Nick Bockwinkel, who you'll be unfamiliar with. It sounds like a ridiculous name. Yep. Massively underrated, in my opinion, as a heel. He spoke, you'd like his promos. He doesn't shout. He talks, but he's condescending. Okay. He's very good at bigging himself. No, he's very good at bigging himself up whilst talking the other person down. Okay. So I'd really like to get some Nick Bockwinkel stuff on I know you're going to smile every time I say his name, but
I really like it.
But honestly, and he was someone that would take the title and hold it for a bit and come back, and they used to like having him as a heel champion.
Right.
So when Hulk Hogan's there, and he's already going by Hulk Hogan, by the way, at this point.
Oh, okay.
Prior to the WWF. He would also be the Incredible Hulk Hogan, which caused a lawsuit issue around the name because the Incredible Hulk. Marvel had that wrapped up, which is part of why they did Incredible Hulk Hogan, because they wanted to kind of use that as a parody, but then they dropped the Incredible and went with the Immortal after a while.
Okay, yeah.
But anyway, in the AWA, he was the de facto #1 challenger for Nick Bockwinkel's title. The fans wanted Hogan to win. We might have got a bit of a dusty finish.
Oh.
So Hogan it's all been built up to this one moment, because Hogan was a heel, but he was so popular with the fans they had to turn him. They build up to this big match. Nick Bockwinkel, Hogan, the match is going well. Probably one of Hogan's better matches, certainly at that time. Hogan wins the match, but I believe as part of that match, Bockwinkel went over the top rope and went to the floor. And if it was intentional or deemed intentional, it's a disqualification.
Right.
So whether he was thrown out or whether he went out of his own volition. So Hogan won the match, again, air quotes, held the title, the eruption for this man. Unbelievable. If you can ever find YouTube footage, because I'm sure it's out there.
Okay.
I think I've seen the match, to be fair, so it's somewhere. Was unreal. The announcer comes and says, due to disqualification... Actually, to be fair, I say that. I don't know if that was announced or if the fans were let believe that Hogan had actually won the title. And then when they found out it hadn't, it killed them. Like, AWA carried on as a company, but that was the highest they ever got with not pulling the trigger on Hogan. And the reason why is because Vern didn't want a champion who couldn't legitimately wrestle. Nick Bockwinkel had amateur background. He was considered to be, not like a tough, hard, but a guy who could defend himself. Yeah. Hogan's a big guy, sure, but he had no amateur background.
Right, okay.
Vern didn't like that.
Oh, okay.
So Vern was like, no, I don't know if he's the right guy. When literally everything was telling him that's the guy to back.
God.
And they didn't do it. So he was still working the AWA.
Yeah.
When he gets a call from Vince McMahon Jr. this time.
Oh, okay.
Vince goes, I'm taking over my dad's company. I want to take professional wrestling national, and I want you to be the guy that we build it on.
Wow. Hogan
doesn't work his notice at AWA, no shows, goes to the WWF, and the rest is history.
Wow, okay.
So that gives you a bit of background
on
how...
actually, yeah, because I obviously don't know anything about that.
But if you can ever watch the footage of where Hulk Hogan is made to look like he's won the AWA title, the reaction, it's one of those ones where, granted the technology for the cameras and everything back then isn't as good. It's one of those ones where it feels like it breaks the audio because it's that loud.
Okay.
Phenomenal moment. I'd quite like to, actually, I'm trying to work out, I don't know what show that was on or if that we'd be able to access it anywhere, but that would be a good one to potentially see.
Okay.
Like a pre-Hogan superstar level thing where you wearing white, didn't have the Hulkamania, none of that stuff. That's not a thing yet.
Wow.
That's all the marketing campaign. Also, an interesting fact. So, Vern, I don't want to say he was a stingy man, but he was a bit tight, shall we say. Shortchanging a lot of people. And when he saw that the Hulk Hogan thing was getting over with the fans, he made some merchandise, sold it at the shows. Hogan got none of it. Hogan didn't even know he was doing it because Hogan was in Japan when Hogan found out, he's like, hang on a second, that's my name. And he said, yeah, but you work for me, so therefore it's my property. Vern didn't want to give him fucking anything for his likeness and usage and all this merchandise. And obviously we know what kind of... And I think it's this type of behaviour that programmed Hogan to think, absolutely, I'm never being fucked over on this kind of stuff going forward.
Yeah.
And the stuff he would get in his contracts, which we'll touch upon later, just chef's kiss.
Oh, really?
Like how anyone signed off on some of these contracts, remarkable stuff. But then he's in the WWF.
Yes.
WrestleMania.
Yes.
I mean, that wasn't an immediate thing.
Mm-hmm.
We obviously got to the point where, and the question is how do they get the title to Hulk Hogan? So Vince McMahon's already going through and starting to raid the territories. And the way in which Vince is doing this, and the kind of the growth of the WWF is so intrinsically linked to obviously the rise of McMahon and Hogan, what he's doing. As part of like taking over taking the talent from other territories, he's also buying the TV time in other areas. And he's doing it from loans, basically. So people think, like, how did he suddenly have all that money to do what he did? It's because he was thinking long term, but the short term pain was very real. Because if he fucked up on pretty much anything, bar the odd hiccup here or there, he would have defaulted the company back to his dad. Right. So as part of the agreement with his dad was, I will pay you X amount for this period of time. If I even miss one payment, you can keep everything I paid you and you get the company back with the shareholders. So anything goes wrong on that, he's cocked up. But in order to take WWF to the next level and have Hulk Hogan with it, they had to work out how to get the title on him. So do you know who the champion was at the time when Hogan kind of burst into the WWF? I think we might have discussed it in passing.
I don't know.
You know who it is for sure, but you don't know.
I know who the person is when you say it. Yeah,
Bob Backlund.
Oh, really?
Not the Bob Backlund you've seen.
Oh, okay.
We've seen crazy, deranged Bob Backlund.
Yeah.
Who's like playing chess with kids in darkened rooms. Still, phenomenal segment. I still love that segment. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah.
Bob Backlund at the time, again, amateur wrestler.
Right.
He's like Vern's dream of a wrestler. White meat babyface. So he's just got his kind of auburn, red hair, Casper the Friendly Ghost, hue, duck ass waddle, but cookie cutter, American pie, that whole thing. How do you get it from him who's a face? Because originally there was talk of if we keep Hogan a heel, you could do something there and have them go up against each other. And allegedly how it was told to Bob Backlund was, we're going to have you drop the title. We're going to get... so the Iron Sheik took the title off Bob Backlund. And that's who they used to get it to Hogan. And then Bob was told the long-term plan was always to have Backlund against Hogan.
Oh.
How that would have worked as face versus face, I don't know. It wouldn't have been good. It would have been interesting, but for maybe the wrong reasons. So Backlund loses the title, and he loses it in such a way that he never submitted. So he was locked in the camel clutch.
It's one of those losses that doesn't make him look any less...
Correct. So he's...
I don't know what the word is, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly that. So he is in the camel clutch by the Iron Sheik. His back has already been massively worked over. He's got an injured neck because Iron Sheik had previously hit him with one of those... Have you ever seen Iron Sheik do that weight training with those big Persian clubs? Yeah. Really tough to do. Even like strong people, if you don't have the technique, they can't do it. That injured his back and neck.
I like the air quotes, but yeah.
Yeah, because the segment that actually happened, it's like it clearly doesn't hit him where they say it does, and probably for good reason. But to the point where instead of just going with it, Backlund tries to position himself like it did hit him in that area, and it just doesn't look quite right. He's in the hold. Backlund's trainer, Arnie Scarland, throws in the towel, submits on his behalf. Backlund never submits, never pass out, but he lost the title because his manager threw in the towel. Iron Sheik's the new champion. Iron Sheik held the title for a very short period of time. Madison Square Garden, boot, leg drop, 1, 2, 3, eruption. Hogan is the new champion. Backlund's done. Backlund only ever really comes back in the part where we start to see him. So he had that...
Really?
Well, the first period of time where he kind of did that kind of... He did the odd spot shows, but he was never around full time. Up until he came back in the 90s. The first part we saw him in the 90s was the WrestleMania 9 match with Razor Ramon. Less said about that match, the better, in my opinion. But now Hogan's the champion, WWF rocket up his arse, and we lead all the way to WrestleMania.
Yep.
Having seen a lot of the WrestleManias, because I've done a lot of talking now.
Yeah, it's fine.
What? It sounds like a bit of a big question, but I don't mean it
God.
like that. What does Hogan's value add to WrestleMania?
God.
Having seen it, so you've seen the proof of
I suppose from especially the earlier ones, like you say, he was the poster boy for the company. So if people are going to go, he's going to be your main pull, right?
Exactly that.
Oh, I feel quite proud of myself
Well,
for getting that right.
He's the linchpin, though, as well, isn't he? He's
the
every
face that
WrestleMania.
runs at the place.
Very much so. He's the centerpiece of every WrestleMania up until 9. And even then, he comes in and walks away with the WWF title after Yokozuna beat Bret Hart. So it can't go, and we'll touch upon things towards the end of the show, like some of the bigger questions about Hogan and his legacy. Don't worry, you've been prepped.
I'll get there.
You've been prepped. I sent you the questions that we were going to discuss, so you're fine. It's incredible, really, that Hogan... And actually, no, I'm going to touch upon it now. There was something I was going to wait until a little bit later.
Right.
In terms of like his wrestling appeal, it's unbelievable. Obviously, post 2015, the racist comments, etc., slightly different animal.
Yeah.
But in terms of like, it's hard to dislike Hulk Hogan. You could be bored by certain things of it.
Yes.
But having seen it in person myself, it's hard not to get swept up in it.
I genuinely can imagine, because I've watched what we've watched.
Yeah.
Even just through the Manias, and it was at the start. It was like, oh, okay, like I've not seen him like this age, even though he weirdly ages in reverse.
Yep, Benjamin Button. There you go. That's the name, Ben.
Yeah, but I don't think he'd go by Ben. I think it'd be Benjamin.
Benjamin Hogan.
Always.
Yep. Benjamin Belair.
Oh, that's a
There
great.
you
That's
go.
a great one.
Benny Belair.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
He definitely owns a calzone shop. Benny Belair.
For sure.
100%.
For sure. No, I'm gone. That's it. Brain's
Talking
gone.
about how he, having just seen like
yes.
the shows
So-
that he's on.
Yeah, so I started off being a bit like, I guess the word is interested in it, and being like, oh, okay, like this is how he had his rise up. And there's a middle segment, I think, when I was just so over it. Like, I don't want to see him again. I've watched him in so many programs, and I think there was even one we watched when we didn't even know he was there, and
I knew he was
like, well, you didn't tell me who was there.
King of the Ring 2002, she's talking about there. Right after a series of WrestleManias, you picked
Yeah,
that.
and then weirdly for me, the ones we've watched later have weirdly sort of started to pull me in more.
Because it's more sparing.
And also not through the wrestling ability, but through the theatrics. I freaking love a Hulk up.
You do.
And I love the finger wag.
Yep.
I freaking love that. But I don't want to see him, like, I get he's not here now. But the wrestling, I could do without.
Something we have to think about, though,
Yeah.
is we're obviously looking at this through a modern lens. And what I mean by
course,
that
yeah.
is, in the 80s, when he was in his pomp, we didn't have streaming services. We didn't have, like, the internet. We had no availability other than, like, VHS releases, pay-per-view events, and things that were shown on television, unless you're attending the shows live in person. So you're not seeing him nearly as often, whereas now it's like it would be an assault on the senses. And that's why they're saying, as a modern day comparison, let's look at what they did with Roman Reigns. Sure, yeah, he held the title for a long time, but he was used sparingly.
Yeah, he didn't.
In that time, he wasn't on every show.
Every single show, he didn't defend it every week.
No, the essence of
Barely,
him was
but,
there because
yeah.
he was always referenced and stuff, but he wasn't there. And a little goes a lot further, and it makes them feel like a bigger deal.
Yeah,
The whole
agreed.
thing that was being discussed a while back around Brock Lesnar was obviously the part-time contract he gets, which is unbelievably lucrative. And Paul Heyman was asked about it and said, you don't want to see him every week. If you see him every week, it means nothing.
Yeah.
You save him for those moments, because then those moments feel bigger.
The oh my god moments, rather
Exactly.
than the
The him again moment.
You wait for the boombox and the cowboy hat moments.
Yeah, again, you're conflating two different things into one, because he never had the cowboy hat as he was doing the boombox. Two separate moments.
I freaking love those two.
That was funny, though, to be
Yes.
fair.
But no, I agree. It's there's some people now that I wish they did it with.
Yes. With Hogan and his undeniable charisma in the wrestling sphere, he obviously went into like TV shows. He did movies. What he did in Rocky 3 was fine because it was limited to a kind of environment that he was familiar with. As we go into the 80s, and you've seen like a little hint of it, as we go to No Holds Barred.
Is that one that they
with
showed
Zeus?
The clip of? Yeah, okay.
So we saw
Yes.
during Saturday Night's Main Event, they shared a little clip with us. And we also saw Tiny Lister himself at ringside clubbing Hogan before his cage match with the Big Boss Man. Underrated cage match, I'll say that again. Granted, No Holds Barred is unfortunate in many respects. It's a shit watch. It also had a lot of Vince McMahon fingerprints on in terms of the dialogue. Vince was heavily involved. I think he was credited as a producer on the film.
Right.
And there are little things in there you go, that's Vince.
Yeah.
Like one of the guys craps himself when Hogan has him and goes, Dookie. That's Vince. So for a man that has such a natural, captivating charisma in pro wrestling, why doesn't that transcend?
It's weird, isn't it?
To real acting. Real acting sounds disrespectful, but where it's primarily acting, film, TV.
Film and TV.
Because he could not. It was poor.
It is I say it's bizarre. I mean, I can't do it. I couldn't do any of this. Let's be real.
I reckon on film you'd be fine.
But shush. But like, it's funny to think, isn't it? Because then you've got in later life, you've got the likes of people who, like for me, okay, one of his films is horrendous. John Cena.
One of his films is horrendous.
One that I've seen. I'm being specific here.
I'm trying to think
Maybe
of one. You would have liked
one.
Blockers. I know that.
I love Blockers. I love all of the recent stuff.
What about the one where isn't he a fireman? And they look after a girl or something.
Yeah, great.
I thought that was fine as well.
The Marine.
Oh, fuck that.
Was
WWE films.
Horrendous.
Yeah.
It is one of their films. But again, seeing the first one of that, I was like, oh, God.
Speaking of the Marine, just to segue a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you know who was supposed to take over the role? Because it obviously went to The Miz, didn't it, ultimately?
Yes.
Do you know who was supposed to take over the role instead of that?
Oh, no.
I hear voices in my head.
Shut your mouth.
It was going to be Randy Orton.
Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't
Thank
matter
you.
what the film is. Just do close-up of his oily thighs.
I'll save that for later. Thank you.
Baywatch. Sorry, as you were saying, though. Marine
Baywatch.
shit.
Speaking of Baywatch, Hogan was in Baywatch.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah.
Yeah, right in the era.
And he didn't have a clue who he was. And they're like, you're Hulk Hogan. It was so bad.
Brilliant. But why do you think it is? Because you said, like, they're modern day equivalents.
Yeah.
The Rock.
Yeah.
Good actor.
Great.
Good actor.
Batista.
Surprisingly good actor.
Surprisingly good.
Because your wrestling acting wasn't great.
No.
But then Drax the Destroyer, which is like the absence of charisma which works as a charisma. But I've seen him in other stuff. There's that horror film he's in as well.
Okay.
Which Em watched, and she went, that was actually really good. And I said, how was Batista? Because if there's a wrestler in it, I want to know how the wrestler is. She went, yeah, he was really good.
Yeah.
Like, he could play a serious role very well.
It is surprising. Some of them are very good.
Ricky Stenicki, John Cena,
I love
amazing
that.
performance.
I love that
I
film.
might have to watch that later.
I love that film. It's
really
so good.
And I go in there expecting the worst often as well. But he's
very good.
But Hulk Hogan, it never worked for him. Have you ever seen Thunder in Paradise?
No.
So that was a TV show he was in during his WCW years. We'll get there. We'll get there. But also some of his other films like Santa with Muscles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Mr. Nanny.
Do you think this is probably a no? But
As in, do I think?
I'm going on a I don't. So I'm going on a limb here.
Yeah.
You know how? Right. Think of a Christmas film.
Okay. Jingle All the Way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. Arnie.
Wrestlers in that, by the way.
Yeah. But to me, in my head, do you think they're trying to, or they would have tried to kind of emulate? Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Like a similar sort of, because that is an absolute banger of a Christmas film.
Yeah.
Arnie,
it's shite as well.
I'll be honest. Someone might hate me for this. Arnie, not really the great.
Put the cookie down!
It's not really a great
Jamie!
actor in some films, right?
In any film.
But to me, that's such an epic film.
Yeah.
Were they trying to
Do something like that
do
with
something
Hogan.
like that with Hogan, maybe?
Probably exactly that, to be
Yeah.
honest. Although now I want to see Hogan in that film going, put the cookie down, brother. Like, it's just, what you gonna do? Fucking, oh God, Sinbad when Hogan runs wild on you. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Probably. I think that's probably
think?
exactly what
Okay.
he's trying to do. But it just never worked out.
Yeah.
It never worked out. And, like, there's been so many wrestling crossovers into the movies that some of them are, like, lesser known stars. So, I don't know if you're familiar with a gentleman by the name of Gene LaBelle, Judo Gene.
Nope.
Did professional wrestling back in the day, obviously did judo, hence the name. He did a lot of stunt-related work, like as in an orchestrated fight scenes on films and stuff. So there's been a lot of wrestling involvement. Even, I think The Rock's granddad did something with regard, and, I could well be wrong, but I'm sure I read this. He helped do fight scenes on the James Bond film. So it makes sense because these people are, in theory, well, not in theory, in practicality, they're feigning violence
Yeah.
in
Would make sense.
front of a camera, in front of people, and have to make it look, at least to a certain point, believable. So, of course, that's going to work in a film.
It makes sense to make it be more believable because you've got people watching in real life. Whereas
Yes.
behind a camera, you can do it again.
You can hide with angles and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And so a lot of wrestlers have done that kind of work.
Okay.
There was a part-time wrestler that even appeared in The Godfather. He was one of the henchmen. I think he was killed in the film, to be fair. But so there's
Okay.
professional wrestling
Oh.
smattering everyone. Again, Jingle All the Way. The Big Show's in that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm
love
a
that
dick
film.
your horse, Bob.
I freaking love that film.
I do as well. I used to watch it. There was a period of time what I used to watch, and this is ridiculous. Jingle All the Way, like almost every day in December, just because
Yeah.
it was easy. Have on the background. It's
Yeah.
nice. Takes me to that special place.
Yeah, I have to every Christmas. I watch it.
It's
Every,
a
but
Christmas
to me,
Eve
it's a
film.
sit down because it has a lot of memories. That film. So for me, it's a
Yeah.
proper sit down focus film.
Yeah.
A lot of the others I can let go, but
Home Alone is up there for me as well.
oh yeah, for sure.
We've digressed a little bit from
Talking about Christmas films.
Hogan's
Oh, okay.
Hogan's acting, well, because it's so cheesy, and you get so many Hallmark Christmas films. It kind of goes hand in hand, but it never really worked out for Hogan.
No.
He tried, but obviously, and I think it was not only to benefit himself, because it makes sense if you become big in the Hollywood circles, you're going to be able to write checks that even wrestling could never dream of providing for you. But he always came back to wrestling. Now you'd say it was for the love of the game, or is it because Hollywood wasn't working out for you, mate? So he's been champion. He was big part of the Rock and Wrestling Connection. He was getting like big TV exposure with the likes of Mr. T. They did Saturday Night Live. I think they hosted at least one of those shows on all the talk shows, doing the rounds. And he's always very good in that format, barring one particular Arsenio Hall show that came around in the early part of the 90s. WrestleMania took off. Well, I say took off. Was a smash success. Vince McMahon more than made his money up for it with all his eggs in that basket with Hogan as the champion. That's the working formula. We're going to stick with it. We see Hogan having done, again, the March Through the Mania's journey. We've seen Hogan in Mania after Mania. It's a bit different from our perspective, certainly for your perspective, because we saw that at one point it was every other week.
Yes.
You're watching Hogan in your spare time, kind of doing the same formulaic stuff, which all wrestlers do to a certain
Of course
point.
I do. Yeah.
And it started to wear off on you.
Very much so.
The fans, although many of them still loved Hogan, you could sense they were like, we want something a little bit different
Tired of
here.
it now.
A
Yeah.
little bit different. Not that we don't like you anymore,
Yeah.
but we don't want you in
Give
the
us a
same
little
capacity.
Something extra.
And at WrestleMania 9, I've had a back and forward conversation with one particular commenter on YouTube, and that's fine. I welcome that as long as it's
Okay.
respectful. He disagreed that the fans were turning on Hogan.
Okay.
And I said, they weren't. They were. You're wrong, basically. I said they were
Right.
turning on him. And Hogan has always been, and you can fault him for so many things, he has always been elite at gauging the temperature in a room. And I don't mean literally. They call him the thermometer. Terry the Thermometer Hogan.
Oh, okay.
Terry Hogan, I've just called him there.
Yep.
He knows when something will look, ironically, will look bad on him being there, and knows to then distance himself from it.
Right, okay.
So when things start going backwards, they're losing momentum, etc., it's not attributed to him.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
He's not the one to blame, brother. And he's phenomenally good at reading those situations and trying to make himself not to be the person that's deemed to be the issue.
Okay.
We get into the early part of the 90s, we get the steroid scandal. We've already seen the Dr. Zahorian stuff in the latter part of the 80s, where he obviously got actually put away for his involvement in dealing steroids. One of the clients that he had was Mr. Hogan.
Yes.
And he used to have drugs shipped to his home address, as well as to Titan Sports directly. Hogan, obviously steroids were a massive thing. We can't get away from that. Like, in the 70s, less so. As you're starting to get into the late 70s, early 80s, and that's just not specifically pro wrestling, but that's just bodybuilding culture in general, went that way and went that way hard. And there wasn't the regulation in place to kind of police it effectively. So when they did start to bring in the legislation with the, FDA or the Food and Drugs Commission, they had to make sure that they were making the rules that didn't necessarily punish people for historically using them when it wasn't illegal then. But it kind of became a little bit of a grey area, and some doctors, like your Dr. Zahorians, worked around that because they like being popular with the wrestlers. They like being needed and like hanging around in those circles. And I get it to a point, but obviously you've got your Hippocratic Oath and all that stuff as a physician. And that cost him. In Dr. Zahorian's trial, the lawyers of the WWF managed to actually get it so that Hulk Hogan didn't need to testify in that trial, even though he was one of that Roddy Piper had to testify in that trial. One of the Bees, had to testify in that trial. Rick Martel had to testify in that trial, amongst others. And when it kind of shifted the focus towards Vince McMahon, and then we get to the Vince McMahon steroid scandal, shall we say, Hogan was still, well, he wasn't actually. In that period, Hogan was starting to, because Vince basically got word, it found out within the company that they were being scrutinised for this, and they expected something to come of it. So they started to go, do you know what, Hogan, you can go and do your thing. You don't go away for a while. You don't need to be here. And the people with the big bodies start getting phased out.
Right.
Warrior went for other reasons, to be fair, but Warrior also a known steroid user amongst others. But if you look at the physiques of the 80s, the likes of your Hercules Hernandez, just to name one, like I honestly name 90% of any show and you go clearly on the gas. So Hogan steps away and we start to get a kind of new breed. There's a period where, so the new generation is what's known as in the WWF, that kind of period where basically the start of Raw, so like 93,
right, okay.
93, 94. And the new generation is signalled by the likes of your Shawn Michaels, your Bret Harts, Undertaker.
So muscle guys that've got muscle tone,
leaner
but
muscle.
they're not big.
Exactly.
Big, muscly, like burly men.
And Bret Hart, for the most part, is the poster boy of that, because he's a traditional wrestler. He can do all the technical stuff. In-ring work, fantastic, and he has a good physique about him, and it's for the most part natural. Bret admitted that he did steroids as well for a piece as well, and Shawn would have done it as well. They all did to certain degrees. When the spotlight went back to Hogan, to bring it back to Hogan, Hogan was asked to go on the Arsenio Hall show. As part of this, he was going to be interviewed about his use of steroids. And in Bret Hart's book, he's talked about it and said there was a feeling in the locker room if he just came out and said, yeah, I used to do that, I still did it occasionally, I'm now stopping, etc., carry on, draw a line under it, admit your wrongdoing, carry on. He said, yeah, I did it to recover from injuries, but yeah, I haven't done steroids for a number of years. And Bret said everyone in the locker room just went, like the wind came out of their sails, like, why would you do that when all the evidence and the facts is to the contrary?
Right.
So Hogan started to, and it was the germ that grew into what we have towards his later years, where I genuinely don't know, when Hogan's being interviewed and telling a story, if he has said it so many different ways, the same event so many different ways, that he actually doesn't know himself now what the truth of the matter is.
Right.
And I struggle with almost every story he tells where you're like, did that happen? Because it could be something so innocuous, but I feel like 90% of what he said was garbage.
Right. Okay.
And it's like this kind of thing, and then you get that reputation, and instead of kind of eventually going, yeah, fair enough, you double down and you keep saying similar lies, and they go one to the other, and then it becomes easier. And then I know professional wrestling in many respects back in the day is considered a great lie because it's obviously feigning competitive fights. And that stuck with Hogan, I think. That reputation of him telling porkies. Again, even when the evidence is there to say, well, clearly what you're saying isn't true, you go, well, no, I'm correct because I'm Hulk Hogan, basically. We touched upon like his work in film loosely, and again, the TV shows in the same boat. But there's one particular TV show, and we jump at the timeline a little bit.
Okay.
But I'd like to get your thoughts because I know you're a big fan. Hogan Knows Best.
Yes.
Up there with the Osbournes.
Oh, I bloody love that program.
As kind of like the two reality TV family shows.
For me, they were like the original,
I'm-
celebrity TV shows, weren't they, really?
I maybe saw 2 episodes in my entire life of it, so this is very much your
Really?
territory. So talk me through it.
Oh, I remember, so this came out, I think it was 2005?
That sounds about right.
So I would have been 17, I think.
Yep.
Thank you. So for me, this was perfect timing. I love trash TV. Like, let's be real.
Still do.
Like, yeah, absolutely. And it was easily available to watch. And it was weird because I knew I liked wrestling. But obviously at this time
Were you in a bit
as
of
well,
denial?
Oh, no, I'd always been quite open about liking it. But Hogan wasn't wrestling.
In
What I was
2005,
watching.
no.
So I was like, I know who he is, but also I love me some trash telly. Like, let's have a little look. His daughter, same age as me.
Brooke Teeney?
Yeah, but same age. So it was a little bit like, oh, okay, this is interesting. I bloody loved it.
What was it?
Loved it.
What was it about it that you actually enjoyed, though? I know you said it's trashy, and I get that.
It
but
is pure trash. It kind of...
is it comical?
At this time, I will say something different in hindsight, but at this time, there wasn't much like it out there.
Fair.
Apart from the Osbournes, and the Osbournes were so...
I watched the Osbournes.
Oh yeah, like I love that too, but it was so completely different because obviously every second word out of Ozzy's mouth is
Sharon!
yeah, and then
Fuck.
obscenes and all that sort of stuff. But
When he's not eating burritos, of course.
of course, whereas this was
Rest in
more trying to be like family friendly. Let's give mainstream TV, MTV, a look behind the life of Hulk Hogan and his family, and I feel like it was trying to draw in a different crowd, which it did, because you get like teenagers like me watching it. I know my mates watched it. They didn't watch wrestling.
I'm pretty sure my missus has watched Hogan Knows Best
Yeah.
and used to watch it as well, and she's similar in
It's-
age to us as well.
Fascinating. Like, it's just fascinating how it can pull someone in. Then I thought it was great because I was just like, oh my God, he's such an overbearing dad. So overprotective, like horrendously overprotective of his daughter. And I just found it quite funny. In hindsight, I'm like, yeah, it was definitely like more scripted than I realised back then. But that's because now everything is. That it makes
Well, you've
it
got
a bit
reality
less
TV that is scripted, and I don't
enjoyable.
understand that.
But it was such an easy watch. It was funny. It was so funny.
It didn't go on for too many series, though. Wasn't it like 2 or 3 series?
Yeah, I don't think it lasted very long. I actually think it was only on for maybe 2 years.
Wow.
Because
Feels longer.
whilst it was on,
Yeah.
towards the end of them filming, I'm assuming there was a contract they had to fill to get the $1. And whilst this was going on was when Linda and Hogan were going through some difficulties. And
Marital
he
troubles.
had an affair with his daughter's friend.
Yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of that,
Yeah.
We're going into a bit of the darker side of Hogan
Okay.
at the moment. Why do you think that after he separated from Linda,
I know
anything
exactly what you're gonna
he
say.
wanted to put his sausage in had to look like his daughter?
It is very odd. Very odd.
But one time I was like, oh, that is his daughter. And I went,
His-
oh no.
Not a second, because I think Linda was his second wife. I don't know, but the girl he was with, a woman he was with before, who
He's not Jerry the King Lawler.
he was married to now,
Yeah.
identical.
Mm-hmm.
Identical.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so bizarre.
It's creepy, isn't it? Imagine being Brooke and going,
I mean, imagine being her and being like, great, you banged my friend.
well, yeah.
And she was, what, 17, 18?
How old was the friend?
Well, I tried to look this up and I couldn't find it out exactly. And
Without putting your ID in, yeah?
I don't want to dive too
Yeah.
heavily into it, but if it's a friend, you'd assume it's a similar age.
And you would assume that they probably weren't your friend afterwards.
Well, who knows? But I think following that, obviously there was the TV show, which was Brooke Knows Best.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Which was actually fairly decent too, but
Okay.
it was more of her dealing with, I don't want to live here anymore, trying to do her own thing. And I guess this is more just like, again, trash and gossip, but to me it speaks volumes, the fact that she requested to be removed from his will.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, fair enough.
Whether she was or not, who knows? And it's all alleged, it's all tinted.
I mean, I guess you can just get rid of the money if you were given it, but
yeah,
I
like,
did not know that.
you know, that's a gold mine. Like,
But
to request to be taken out of it. They hadn't spoken. I think she'd publicly said she last spoke to him in 2023. Maybe I might be getting these dates all wrong because she had kids.
yeah, that was going to be my follow-up question to you, because obviously she came into TNA for a bit, didn't she? And obviously that's when Hulk was there, so they must have had still some form of But then again, I'm trying to. That must have been like 2009, 10, maybe a little bit later than that even. So obviously a long time before she was asked to be written out of the will, I assume.
Yeah.
It's but I guess then. Okay, well let me ask you this then: if that is indeed scripted, Hogan did a believable job then on that.
Yeah.
So is there no smoke without fire? So is he an overbearing, protective dad that they just turned up to 11?
Who knows?
Yeah. We'll touch upon more of the darker side of Hogan as we go through this, but and this is going to sound like I'm coming at you, so to speak, quite hard.
Oh.
No, as in, I'm going to say because you don't know this, and it just sounds like I'm having a dig.
Fine.
Him going to WCW, you know he obviously went there.
Yes.
Do you appreciate how big of an impact that was, realistically?
No.
It will make more sense when we kind of see some of the early parts of the WCW shows where he went over there, but it was a massive deal. So he was away filming Thunder in Paradise, the TV show, basically like Baywatch with a boat type thing. It was
Yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
brilliant, as bad as you can imagine. And this was while all the kind of the steroid stuff was dying down.
Right.
He always thought eventually I'll come back to WWF. WCW, Eric Bischoff gave him a call. This is when Eric Bischoff wasn't long since in power there. Reached out the olive branch to him and said, well, not the olive branch, because there was no big bridges
Just
burnt, I
reached
guess.
out the branch.
Reached out a branch to pull him off his boat.
Any branch.
I've got a boat story as well about Hogan later.
Oh, God.
No, it's fine. It's not as bad as you think. Well, it's not bad, to be honest. And said, why don't you come into WCW? The contract he got when he went to WCW,
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Okay.
Like, he got an even better contract later on in his WCW career, which basically dictated that he'd have creative control.
Jeez.
So creative control meant that any match that he was involved in that he didn't like, he could refuse to do it. That doesn't work for me, brother. So effectively, I'm not saying, but like the language in the contract is a bit woolly. It says within reason.
Okay.
How can you dictate
What's
within reason?
Yeah.
And part of how he was treated in WCW actually led to a court case where he was referring to his contract, where he sued WCW and Vince Russo. We'll get to that a little bit later on. Part of his contract in WCW saw that every pay-per-view event, he would get 25% of the total.
Wow.
Yep. I think even whether he was on the card or not.
Jesus.
His later contract dictated that he had to be the headline attraction on at least, I think it was 4 or 5 pay-per-views a year. And what do you consider to be a featured attraction? Because you could argue that anyone on the card is a featured attraction because you're
people
featured on
come
the card.
and people come to see different people.
Do you consider the featured attraction to be the champion? Hogan might have done.
Wow.
So he was very politically savvy behind the scenes in terms of knowing how to position himself. He would always do well, for the most part, with the people that were above him. And when he went to WCW, it cannot be overstated how much that ripped the guts out of Vince McMahon. To think, like, granted, yes, you were called Hulk Hogan before you came to me, but
I made you.
Kind of, yeah, I made you. And Hogan's like, well, I am me.
Yeah.
And, you kind of got the button heads, and they fell out massively. In Vince's trial, actually, Hogan was called to testify for that, and it was used in that promo for their street fight at WrestleMania 19, where he said, in the trial of my life, you went... He didn't say what he actually said, because Hogan's testimony is probably the key thing that got Vince McMahon exonerated, because he said, no, Vince never told me to do steroids, never this, that, and the other. So, yeah, Hogan, even when working for WCW, never said anything that would get McMahon in trouble. But it's still, like, I think Shane even said in an interview, he said, I'd never seen my dad. I don't want to put words in his mouth and say cry before. He said, but I saw it then.
Right.
Because he was just couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And this was a very dark period for the WWF where revenue was down and WCW was taking off, and it didn't look like WWF were going to stick around. Obviously, we know how that story turned out. The issue you had with Hogan is that he's still the say your prayers, eat your vitamins, all that good stuff, believe in Hulkamania, brother, and you have to use him in a certain way. And the way that Hogan was used to being used is you get the biggest guy, who's a bad guy, put him in the ring with me, I'll beat him.
Right.
And he got very comfortable with doing it with people that he'd worked with previously in the WWF. So there was a stable in WCW called the Dungeon of Doom.
Okay.
I cannot wait. Well, I can wait, actually, for a show that they're on.
No, I know what that means.
But the stable was led by Kevin Sullivan, who you won't be particularly familiar with. But in that stable were the likes of Kamala.
Okay.
John Tenter, not as
Okay.
Earthquake, because Earthquake's trademarked by WWF,
Of course.
but as the Shark,
Oh no.
and he's got paint on him, and he's wearing he looks like, apart from the mask, he's wearing a giant Shark Boy costume, but as a singlet,
Really?
with the mouth, honestly, awful.
Oh no.
The Zodiac, and you're like, who the fuck's the Zodiac? And I'll say Ed Leslie, and you'll go, well, I feel like I know that name. Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Oh.
With face paint on, wild hair, like looking ridiculous. Like halfway between Beetlejuice and, I don't know, some other Tim Burton creation.
Wow, okay.
I know, anyway, digressing again. And it was very much, but we've done this. We don't need to see this again. And especially in
Especially
WCW.
the same people as well, really.
Exactly. But also when you think about it, it's being done in WCW, which is a wrestling territory where they like their wrestling. The showman side of it, fine to a degree, but that's not what they're here to see. And this is showing them the stuff that they hate, for the most part, unless you watch everything, in the WWF. And they're like, no, this doesn't work. So what do you do with Hogan then? He's played this role very well, to be fair, since, 84, 83? We're now 10 years later. That's a long time in wrestling when you think about it.
Yeah.
Tastes change. Around 95, 96, getting into 96, but I think it was kind of the wheels were in motion late 95. Couple contracts come up in the WWF.
Yep.
Razor Ramon.
Yay.
It's like, and he'd come from WCW before.
Okay.
He was the Diamond Stud. He was, he was many things, to be fair, but not as many as the other gentleman that we'll get to. But when he planned on staying with the WWF, but then when he saw the money that was being offered by WCW for less dates, it wasn't tons less dates. They make a big point of it being a relaxed schedule. It wasn't really in comparison to the WWF. He was like, well, I've got to do that. In his contract, he also had a favoured nations clause, And favoured nations means if anyone else comes in on more than you, your pay goes up to match them.
Oh.
Hogan's already there at this point, so that doesn't work.
Yeah, cool.
He's the exception. I think it was within 2 weeks, Kevin Nash's contract comes up. He, again, planning on staying in the WWF. Scott Hall said, like, this is the amount of money I'm going to get in WCW. And he was like, what? And if you think about it, in WWF, yes, Razor Ramon you might well have preferred, and understandably so.
Yes.
Diesel was a bigger star, because in terms of the WWF title, he was, I should say, featured more prominently than Razor Ramon.
Yeah.
Bigger stars, more
even
subjective.
From what we've watched, I can see that. I get it.
So he thought, well, hang on a sec. And then Scott Hall said to him, ask for more, because then I will get more in turn. And they did. Wow. So the outsiders go over to WCW, make it look like an invasion. WWF see this and go, no, you are playing with people's emotions, making it look like we've actually sent people over there to interfere in your show. We have no dealings with that. And they took them to court. Well, it eventually went to kind of like a legal battle, which WWF won. Okay. And there were talks of, well, what they're going to call them. And this does feature, we get back to Hulk Hogan, don't worry, but I'm giving you a little bit of background on this, and we'll cover it off more when we actually do the show at that time. And they were going, well, what do we call these guys? And Razor Ramon, even how they wrote it on the board backstage when they were putting what he was going to be doing, they wrote Razor Ramon and just added an E at the end. So it wasn't Ramon, it was Ramon.
Yeah.
And they wanted to try and trademark the bad guy as his name. But obviously that didn't come to fruition. Kevin Nash, when he goes over there, the name that they were going to give him, Axel. Because Axel on a big diesel truck.
Oh.
Again, that fell away, and they just went, someone said, they've got cool names, just let them use their actual names. And there you go. From pretty early on, they were teasing that there was a third man in the group. The Invasion of Sorts. And obviously WWF had said you need to categorically say that these men have not been under contract with the World Wrestling Federation, because you're working off our trademark effectively by not explicitly saying that they're not with us anymore. And it's confusing the fans. And they eventually had to kind of make concessions on that after initially going, fuck them. And they went, oh, actually, no, we do have to comply. They didn't know who the third man was going to be. Legitimately didn't know. There were talks of a few people. One of the people that was proposed was Sting.
Oh, okay.
But you go, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So if you talk about an invasion fact, Sting was never WWF.
Yeah.
Like literally never. Up until later on down the line. So where'd you go with this? There's a couple versions of the story as to how this unfolded. One being that Hogan thought, okay, I've read the room here. What I'm doing isn't working anymore. I need to change. They're the hottest thing going right now. Let's put old Hulk Hogan with that, and we can really do something. But the other side is he had to be talked into it. Right. Because he was like, no, I know what I'm doing here. This is my lane. I'll stick to it. Red and yellow, brother.
Like
through
the
and
good
through.
guy.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But something along the way, obviously Hogan did agree to it. So Bash at the Beach, 96, in a tag team match. Looks like Hogan's coming out to save the day after the Outsiders are attacking Randy Savage, who again would have worked as a third member, having gone over from WWF. That one hurt Vince as well, but not as much as Hogan. And they're like, oh, Hogan's coming to save the day. But Hogan's demeanour didn't look right.
Yeah.
He had a kind of like serious look on his face. He wasn't doing the big wide-eyed, ruff, 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 brother. He goes into the ring. The Outsiders leave. He stands in the corner, pauses, runs across, drops the leg on Savage, stands up, looks at the fans. Garbage is thrown in the ring at Hogan. Fans are throwing bottles.
Wow.
I say bottles, cups,
Yeah.
screwed up paper, anything they could get their hands on into the ring. Hogan is the third man and says that this is the new World Organisation of Wrestling, brother. He fucks up at New World Order. Yeah. But New World Order became a thing. Interesting fact about the New World Order, the lady that designed the logo for that never got any money for it.
What?
I know. Another story for another time, perhaps.
That's
but Hogan
crazy.
Turns heel.
Yes. Okay.
Just put this into perspective. That is like, and you can use almost like, take the religion aspect out of this, but that's like Jesus turning heel. Like what? It doesn't make sense. Like pick whatever religion or whatever denomination you want. That's fine.
So bizarre.
But Hogan turning heel. Granted, you weren't there to kind of experience it firsthand.
No, I can imagine how unexpected it was, though.
I mean, I guess the closest you'd say now is John Cena.
That's literally what I was going to say.
Similar thing. It's a different time, different age.
It's a different era, but again, someone who you wouldn't have expected.
And then, for the most part, his entire WCW run from there was Hogan as a heel. Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
The place that he couldn't make it in, ironically. The one good thing that came out of this is the dark undertone facial hair.
I love that look.
Brilliant. Keep the bandana on, son.
Such a good look.
Air guitar on the... Which he could play. He could slap the bass. So I'm surprised he didn't do the bass as well. But yeah, so...
I have written down, obviously, his look was iconic throughout the whole of his career, mostly. But this one, I just thought... It's so simple because it's not bright colours, it's not
but it works.
Flamboyant. It looks really good.
It's the chosen Holly palette of colours, though, isn't it?
The barcode colour.
It is.
This is the black and white.
Occasional bit of electric blue in there, but we can overlook that.
Sometimes. But I really liked this look.
It's a solid look,
It's
and
brilliant.
he pretty much ran with that in WCW. I mentioned earlier how we had the court case, and this was actually after WCW closed down pretty much, I think, in terms of when this was finally concluded. But when Vince Russo took over the booking responsibilities, I mean, at the time, he credited himself with being the man that kind of innovated the Attitude Era, basically saying fuck, tits, shit, and calling women sluts was pretty much the gist of it. But a lot of his ideas, there were merit in some of his ideas, they had to be filtered through other people to make them palatable, and not all of them were good, certainly. But he had that reputation of being able to really turn a ship around and help with that. At this point, WWF have gone like a rocket. You've got Stone Cold, you've got The Rock, you've got all these big hitters there taking over. WCW are floundering, and they're paying big money on their contracts.
Oh God,
Hulk Hogan having one of the biggest contracts ever. He had a minimum guarantee of a certain amount. Even if the show didn't make a certain amount, they still had to pay him.
Sweet Jesus.
I think it was... So he had a base contract, and on top of that, I feel like it was every quarter he would get an additional $220,000 or something to that effect.
Wow.
The last time we see him in WCW, I believe, is actually at Bash at the Beach again, but this time it is 2000.
Okay.
So WCW shut up shop in early 2001, so they still had a little bit of life left in them, but it wasn't good life. Hogan doesn't get along with Russo. For as well as he got on with Bischoff, he does not get along with Russo. Russo considers him the old guard. We're done with you. We need to start developing new stars. Probably not wrong, but the way in which he was doing it was scorched earth. Like, you're done. Go away, kind of thing. And I will do what I can to make you want to go away. And he eventually did. And Bash at the Beach 2000 is considered to be one of the more controversial pay-per-view events of all time.
Okay.
So, in the alleged main event, it is Hollywood Hulk Hogan as the challenger going up against the World Heavyweight Champion, Jeff Jarrett. Oh, no, I just want to see Holly's face when I said that.
Good Lord.
And we will go into the background of this in greater detail.
Yeah.
What actually unfolds in the ring on the night is Russo comes down to the ring. The match starts. As soon as the bell sounds, Russo shouts something. Jarrett lies down in the middle of the ring, on his back. Hogan looks confused.
Yeah.
Hogan looks at Russo, looks at Jarrett. You can see him talking to Jarrett. Jarrett's you can't work out what's being said. Vince jumps up onto the apron with his knee, points and goes, pin him, and throws the title in the ring. Pin him. Hogan puts his foot on the chest. 1, 2, 3, ding, ding, ding. Jarrett gets up, goes out the ring, walks backstage.
Right.
Vince Russo walks off. Hogan basically says, is this your idea, Vince? This kind of bullshit that the company's in the state it's in right now. Bear in mind, on pay-per-view this is going out.
Oh, okay.
To let you in a little bit more people knew what was going on to a greater extent than what they let on, including Hogan. And then Hogan says this is ridiculous, takes the title belt, walks off backstage. Not long later, Vince Russo comes back to the ring. And he calls Hogan a politician. He's holding people down. And he swears on his mother's life, or I'll be dead in the ground. You will never see that piece of shit again in WCW.
Oh.
Hogan had already left the arena by that time.
Okay.
Hogan claimed later that basically when you look at all the facts and everyone's stories, the reality seems to be that Hogan did know that he was going to be pinning Jarrett. Allegedly, Jeff didn't know that Hogan knew that, though. And apparently Jeff said to him, I've got a wife and kids, I'm just doing what I'm told.
Yeah, he's got to make his money.
Exactly. But that's what he really didn't want to go out for that. Hogan legitimately leaves the arena. And when he hears exactly what Vince Russo says, he's got a problem with that. You're defaming him.
Yeah.
Goes to court about defamation. The court ruled, how can you defame a professional wrestler? You're a character. He didn't defame Terry Bollea.
I see.
And nothing he said was considered to be slander to Terry Bollea. Now, what's interesting about that is in the TV shows leading up to the pay-per-view, and for a while, they've been blurring the lines of reality, and they'd actually started referring to Hogan as Terry Bollea sometimes.
Okay.
But importantly, in Vince Russo's promo, he never called him Terry Bollea. It was always Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Now, whether that was premeditated or not,
it's clever, man.
Don't know. Well, it's what eventually got him out on a technicality. WCW actually settled something with Hogan, but Hogan didn't win that case.
Wow. Okay.
And it set a precedent as well. How can you ever defame a professional wrestler?
If you're not using their real name, then it's.
But also, it's in a acted scenario, an entertainment environment. How can you do it? It's just performers doing what they're told.
Fair point.
WCW shuts up shop.
Mm-hmm.
Hogan doesn't originally go over with the original talent that is swept up by the WWF because he's still on a very cushy contract. He is getting paid more to stay at home than what the WWF would offer him right away. Also, in his lawsuit, Hogan tried to claim that the defamation by Vince Russo meant he got paid less when he went back to WWF. Bullshit.
Okay.
Bullshit.
Sure.
Bullshit. But anyway, so the invasion goes through. It's not great. It culminates at Survivor Series 2001, which we saw.
Yes.
But it's missing so many key people. Goldberg's not there. Sting's not there. At the time of the invasion, Ric Flair's not there.
Mm-hmm.
NWO aren't there. Early 2002, the NWO come in. Their contracts have now run its course. They'll get paid by WWF because effectively the money had run out from elsewhere.
Yeah.
They come in. Within a month of them coming back, and Hogan's coming, fully Hollywood Hogan, still the heel, the fans want Hulk Hogan back.
Yeah.
They want that red and yellow.
Yep.
All it takes is from February to the end of WrestleMania, Hogan's back in his red and yellow. A month later. A month after that, he's the champion. It's unbelievable.
That is
Full
weirdly
circle.
impressive.
Full circle. Vince still said, come home to Hogan. Just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable stuff. This would have been the time where you would have seen Hogan.
Yes.
What, and this is probably the best opportunity to ask it,
Oh, heck.
because we're coming to kind of the tail end of his proper in-ring career at this point.
Okay.
Having seen what we've seen, and we might see something down the line that kind of changes your mind, what is your favourite Hulk Hogan match?
Ooh.
And I've asked it at this point because I think it's going to be from this era.
So, my favourite... There's two that come to mind, but one outshines the other by far. So one of them would have been an older one.
Okay.
But I also believe that has a massive part to play with who was also in it.
Okay.
So that the second... If I had two choices, number two would be... back in the day, it would be Hogan and Savage.
WrestleMania 5.
Yeah. Yeah. But I also think if it wasn't Savage, I wouldn't care.
Yeah,
So
fine.
that probably is also part and parcel of it.
Yep.
And this one, the one that is number one, really surprised me when I remember when we watched it and when I talked about it, being like, I didn't think I'd enjoy this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Hogan and The Rock.
WrestleMania 18.
Yeah. Great.
Well, according to our editor Jamie, that's a 5-star match. I think you say 4.
Yeah, I gave it 4 out of 5.
Which isn't an easy task.
No, it's
unless
not on
you're
the Holly scale.
Ultimate Warrior crushing Triple H in 5 seconds.
No, it's not. It really surprised me.
And it leans into what he does best. It's the spectacle.
It drew me in at a time when I couldn't have cared less about seeing him again.
Mm-hmm.
Because and also, again, I know people hate me for saying this, I'm not a massive The Rock fan.
I know.
Just, it bothers me. So again, I was a
Bothers
bit like...
me.
Yeah. But again, put it on paper, I don't care. I don't care. And after even about 10 minutes, I was like, oh, okay. No, I think I do care. And then you throw in the passing of the torch sort of...
Nostalgia as well.
Yeah, and then I was a bit like, oh, actually, yeah, I really liked this.
That would have been a great send-off match. That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
Would have been a great send-off match. Obviously, the wheels on the wagon kept going on for a little bit longer. We see Hogan against McMahon in a street fight. Not a bad street fight, actually.
Yeah.
Not a great match by any stretch of the imagination, but enjoyable for what it was.
Yep.
I'm trying to think how to word this. Do you think on paper, Vince McMahon and Hogan is bigger as a marquee attraction than Hogan and Rock?
Ooh.
Because that's the ultimate good guy historically against the ultimate bad guy. I know we got the Stone Cold McMahon feud, which is almost untouchable.
Yeah.
Stone Cold is a different type of good guy. He's the
bad
working
guy
class.
That's the good guy.
He's the working class anti-hero.
Yes.
He does the same stuff.
He's the bit of rough good guy, if you know what I mean.
He does the same stuff whether he's good guy or bad guy. He just does it against the people you want him to do it against as a face.
I don't know. I want to say that
personally.
Rock and Hogan was a bigger deal because it
is that passing of the torch. I think it comes back to that.
But again, I understand why people might say the alternative, mainly because it could have been no, because Stone Cold really did the kind of give it to the man sort of thing.
Yep.
But yeah, no, for
this
me
was a settling of a
personally,
grudge.
For me personally, the Rock and Hogan is a far
I'd agree
superior
with you.
match.
So my favourite Hogan match, and the Rock Hogan pushed it close. I really, really liked Warrior Hogan.
Okay.
And it was a different kind of passing of the torch, weirdly, that Hogan did a similar bit of spotlight stealing from, which you didn't seem to mind too much against The Rock, I'll notice.
No, I didn't.
But again, Warrior was my guy.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Warrior was my guy, and like some of my earliest memories of watching wrestling, which I've said before, were Ultimate Warrior. So seeing him have a decent-ish match, actually, with Hogan, which exceeded my expectations, will always sit in a nice little warm, cosy part of my heart.
Yeah.
So that would be my favourite match. I mean, his in-ring career speaks for itself. I mean, I say that. I've been speaking to it and about it for the past nearly 90 minutes. Did film, did TV, but it's not all good.
Okay.
We kind of hinted at a few bits, like the steroid usage. I mean, who didn't do it? Granted, he was as high profile guy as you could imagine. The racism row.
Okay.
It's a tough one.
Okay.
Before that, though, and I'm pretty sure it's before that, is his son, Nick.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, I thought you might mention that. Yes.
The car crash.
Yes.
So, terrible things happen.
Yep.
As far as I'm aware, his friend that was in the car with him was basically a paraplegic, right?
Yeah.
He might have even passed away since
Don't
then,
know,
but he was definitely paraplegic. And there was audio footage, because I've heard it, of Hogan talking about it on the phone. And he basically said, I don't know what that kid must have done in his previous life, but he is being punished for it now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I read there's an article that I wrote about. I skimmed over most of it because actually you explained most of it in a far better way for me to understand. So I didn't need it. But yeah, that's quoted in there and I was like, Jesus.
I've heard the clip of him saying it. He does say it and you're like, you are
heavy.
Moronic. Granted, it's a private phone call, but even I couldn't imagine saying something like that. And then for it obviously to come out, which is its own separate issue, is ridiculous. But that's prior to the racist comments.
Yeah.
That's just... How do you possibly come back from that? Did he ever? In full, I mean. I don't think he did.
No.
And we're talking 10 years ago now.
Yeah, no.
I remember, and it's quite sad when you think about it, his last appearance on TV for the WWE, booed.
Oh God, yes, it was, because I remember saying I understand why he's
it.
being booed. I understand, but it gives me that horrible feeling of, oh, I just don't like it. Like, and I get
It's
it.
awkward, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes me feel a bit sad. But I understand. I logically understand. I'm not supporting anything. I'm just saying.
Well, no, of course.
For a man of his age, who used to be, and yes, it's his own doing.
Of course.
100% his own doing. But it's that weird sort of feeling where you're like, oh God, imagine you're him and you're just hearing these boos, and yes, it's your own fault, but I just feel bad.
I felt conflicted.
Yeah.
Because, again, fully get the boos.
100%.
But you're booing the person, not the character, and it's hard to distinguish between the two. I mean, we could talk until we're blue in the face like about Chris Benoit. Can you enjoy a Chris Benoit match knowing what he did? I would argue I still enjoy watching those matches.
Yeah.
But I try not to think about the reality of it, because
you've got to
they're
have
not showing
two separate things. Like, if you're just watching the wrestling, you're just judging on the wrestling.
And that's how I try and do it. But especially when he's just talking, it is more, because now he's not the in-ring attraction. He is coming out as a nostalgia act of himself. It's even harder to distinguish and separate the two. It's very sad that is the last, and again, self-inflicted, sure. It's sad that that's the last in-ring.
Isn't it?
I think I'd be quite sad seeing that back again. I felt uncomfortable at the time for the conflicted reasons, but that would be sad to see. Sex tape, Holly. You like a sex tape, right?
What?
Come on, I turned the computer on, you sat down and tried to put your fucking ID in it right away.
Oh yeah, it's the thing.
Thanks,
now,
Keir
it?
Starmer. Yeah, apparently so. Jamie was quick on that one as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, of course he'd know.
He's quick on many things anyway. Let me try and put
tell me about this sex tape then.
I've seen, I'll be honest, still images of it rather than...
Have you?
No.
I can confirm I've seen nothing of it, which this will come out wrong, but when it's a celebrity sex tape thing, usually 9 times out of 10, I'm going to have a little look.
It's the longest I've seen him on his back.
But for this one, I had no interest of seeing this.
He didn't want to be pinned, brother. I mean, especially, even like now, just old man. Apparently came up a bit short of expectations for a 6'7" gentleman. Steroids, though, innit?
Oh, I see.
The old shrinky dink effect.
I see what you're trying to say.
But not pleasingly. Well, it's definitely not pleasingly for Bubba the Love Sponge. Wasn't that his missus?
I think so.
He was given the old...
yeah, I think so.
The old Hulkamania, the Pastamania
too. Mate, wasn't it?
Yeah, who still gives updates on him, as we said earlier on. That's one way. I mean, quite a few people have tried to build comebacks off that. We saw Kim Kardashian.
Yes.
Paris Hilton.
Yes, all of which those two have had great comebacks since.
Have you ever watched Parks and Recreation?
Yes.
Chris Pratt blooper
thing.
It's
amazing.
They're talking about great comebacks. Oh, Kim Kardashian. No, she definitely got a come on the back in that video. Brilliant.
So good.
Very, very good. So Hulk Hogan, it's safe to say, was a connoisseur of many aspects of the entertainment industry.
Yes.
Although he did get a lot of money off the back of that.
He did.
And the company that actually released it went bankrupt as a result, as I understand.
Yes, because he even settled, didn't he? I think in the court case, the jury awarded him over 140 mil or something.
Yep.
And then actually it was settled at 31 mil, and that's when the company went, literally, this is all we've got.
Yep.
Have it. 31 mil, you're right.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you what, if anyone wants to pay me 31 million,
you can have
I'll get my stubby little sausage out on the internet as well, eh?
We can get you some fake
What do you mean
tan.
you'll get the tape?
Fake tan for some old steak.
Yeah, from some old steak, yeah. Old Hulk up, definitely. Big boot might be a bit much. No, I don't, actually, because I'm an adult man.
Oh.
But no, I've never... I mean, I should do, because my hair's thinning like a bastard, actually. So.
Stop it.
And I've seen myself as AI version of Hulk Hogan, which was something.
Good, isn't it?
I'll tell you what it looked like. I don't know if you've seen F is for Family.
No.
Okay, the next door neighbour in F is for Family. If you want to Google that, you'll you'll see what I mean. But I felt like that's kind of the vibe that I gave off in that AI image.
To be honest, the picture I saw, I thought I might start wearing bandanas. It was great.
Oh yeah, you look banging in that.
There's only one of us that looks poor in those photos.
Yeah, at least he didn't have his mouth agape like he has in others.
I wish we could show people these. I might start posting them on Instagram.
Jamie's going to listen to this one as well because he loves Hulk Hogan, so
Really?
he's going to have heard
Is
that.
he?
Yeah,
Is
100%. He listens to all of them, but this one he will stop what he's listening the other ones for and jump on this one. I'm pretty sure. As you're looking up the neighbour in F is for Family, we're gonna kind of sign off with just some key questions and some hypotheticals.
Okay.
About the life and time. It's not a quiz, so there's going to be no test.
Thank God.
But just some.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you see it now, don't
Vic
you?
Reynolds.
Yep. That's what I felt like I looked like on the face in that one.
Funny. He also looks like if Ric Flair and Jeff Jarrett had a love child.
I don't need to imagine.
But you see the
hang on.
imagery.
I need to get Hogan's stubby sausage back in my head. Come on, brother. There we go. We got it.
But like this photo here, holding them like
Yep.
it's the love child of the two of them.
Yeah, very much so.
Oh, thank you for bringing that into my life.
You're welcome. Anytime. Anything I can do to help.
Thank
But I just
you.
wanted to give you something to kind of get the old noodle percolating.
God.
Did Hulk Hogan create wrestling superstardom, or was he simply the right man at the right time?
Are these yes or no questions?
Well, maybe a little bit. Add a little. We know how you feel about meat on the bone, but if you wouldn't mind just facilitating on this a little bit. Right person, right
I think
time?
right person, right time.
So they could have done that with anyone?
I mean, I think you've got to have, the person's got to have the gift of the gab. But
Dusty Rhodes, could he have done that?
We'll never know.
No, but hypothetically, do you think he
Yeah.
could then? Okay.
I think so. But I also think, maybe this is my naivety, looking at it in later life, there have been other people that have come in that have been able to do, I think, the same as him for a new generation.
Yep, fine. I think he was the perfect fit for what they were looking for at the time.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads us to another question a little bit later on. I don't think it's necessarily the next question.
Okay.
Oh, no, it is, kind of.
Oh, okay.
How did Hulk Hogan's larger-than-life character shape the public's perception of what a professional wrestler is supposed to be?
Ooh. Oh, good Lord.
Because he kind of encapsulates everything about the
Yeah.
80s in wrestling.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's partly WWF as well, but people say, oh, you're watching that WrestleMania? Well, the wrestling. Yeah, the WrestleMania. And name a wrestler. Like you said, name a wrestler.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
They all think they're
Gosh.
over the top, flamboyant,
Yeah.
which a lot of them are,
A lot of them are, yeah.
but they basically picture Hulk Hogan. I don't think there's any getting
No,
away
I
from
think it's spot on.
that. Do you think that's still the case today?
No.
I think for anyone that was aware of what Hulk Hogan was like at the time and is still around now, it probably is, but I think with time that passes.
Yeah.
Is it fair to hold public figures like Hogan accountable for personal failings when their professional contributions are so significant?
Everybody should be held accountable for anything that they do in their life.
Couldn't agree more. It's tough as well with the cancel culture because you can say anything that offends at least one person and they're going to gun you. Obviously, what Hogan said is unanimously, no one's going to say, no, I kind of get it.
Yeah.
Like, it's dumb. And absolutely you should be held accountable for it. Should you then, let's say, lash out and take it out on the people that enjoyed his professional wrestling work? No.
No, I think because, so I think if hypothetically, so for example, this goes out, right?
Yeah.
And then you get people come in and being like, why are you still talking about someone who did this, this and this? Yeah.
Yeah,
we're not saying he didn't.
And we're not condoning it.
And we're not, but we are separating what he brought to wrestling.
Yeah.
And still talking about the dumb shit that he did, said, whatever.
Yeah.
But you can't just erase somebody from an industry that they had such a massive part of because they fucked up.
And I think that speaks to society at large as well. There's this horrible thing that goes around these days where if you don't agree with someone being cancelled, regardless of what the reason is, whether it's big, trivial, whatever the case is, you're as bad as they are. It's like, no, like, I've got a real issue with it, and it's not really probably one to discuss on the air, but the whole cancel culture thing gets right up my nerves, because some people admittedly deserve it, but just because there's a platform there to share your stupid opinions, whatever it is, doesn't mean just because you have the platform to speak doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
Not everyone's voice, like you go, everyone has a voice. Yes, they do. Not everyone's voice matters. It's just in some situations they just don't.
But I also think that's very similar and I've said this to you so many times of, like, I look online scrolling, I'm a doom scroller, and I see stuff online that I don't agree with. I see people posting political views that I don't agree with, religious views that I don't agree with, personal views that I don't agree with.
And you move on.
I don't comment on it because I don't really care. I don't agree with it, but
why
would I waste my time?
It's an echo chamber.
So just don't watch it. Just don't let it consume your life.
Yeah, because I feel like that's a big part of it. People's and it's the ones that also get offended. And when I say the people that get offended on behalf of others. If someone wants to get offended, let them get offended. Also, being offended doesn't mean you're right. And I'm not talking again specifically about this Hogan thing.
Yeah.
That's very much, ironically, a black and white situation. But it's just the malicious nature of everyone. They're so quick to anger at everything.
Yeah.
If all you look for is problems, it's all you're ever going to see. And yeah, there are absolutely problems out there. But some people identify as being like this social warrior.
Yeah.
And it's like, stop. Like, not stop, but just to affect the things you can affect and better around you. And then if everyone thought like that, the world would be a better place.
Yeah.
But they don't. And I'm not saying I'm going in a very...
No, I know.
It's a contentious issue.
Yeah, but I think especially in a situation like this, like, I personally have obviously seen a lot of things online recently about Hogan specifically, and there's a lot of comments from people that are saying they shouldn't be honouring him because of XYZ, but then there are also the opposites of people going, I acknowledge what he did and I don't like him for it, but I also can't forget about the other 20 years before that when he played such a big part in my life.
And that's pretty much where I land on it as well. What he said was abhorrent, it was stupid. There is no justification for it. Sure, you can apologise, whether people want to forgive you or not, that's a different matter. Am I going to suddenly feel bad anytime I watch a Hulk Hogan match? No. Because if you knew about everything, it's difficult for him as well, because 95%, if not more, of people have said something stupid at some point in their life that they regret saying.
Yeah.
Whether it's for a joke or for whatever. When you're in that level of spotlight, it's just magnified to the nth degree. What he did was wrong, but I'm not going to punish myself for missing that part of my childhood that I lost.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, you can not like him as a person, quite frankly. It sounds bad. I don't care what he was like as a person, because I didn't judge him as a person. I judged the Hulk Hogan character through the medium of wrestling. That's what I'm assessing here. Do I like Chris Benoit as a wrestler? Yeah. As a person, piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same kind of thing. Yeah. I can separate those two. And it's a shame. I mean, like you said, it's a bed that he made for himself. Mm-hmm. So ultimately, the way in which people want to interpret it, that is fine. And everyone's entitled to, interpret it and feel how they want to themselves.
100%.
It's when they then go around dictating how others have to feel about. No,
I don't like that.
No, don't do that, because that's not as bad as some of the bad things that are going on there. But it's certainly not a good thing. It's not helping. It's making it worse. Okay, this one's interesting.
Ooh.
Would Hulk Hogan's Hulkamania persona survive in today's wrestling landscape?
Ooh. For me personally, no. Because for me personally, I know how, if we're going to say we're going to take exactly how it was then and put it now, I would see, we talked about this earlier, I would see him too much. I would not care. And it would be, to me, it would be very similar to how I feel about Cody Rhodes right now.
It's the way I felt about John Cena.
Yeah, I can understand that too.
And I was just like, stop.
Yeah.
So I think if you saw that kind of routine, it's funny as like a nostalgia act.
Yeah.
But most gimmicks are held within their period of time.
Everything's got a time limit. Everything for me is good also for a certain time.
Too much of a good thing becomes a bad thing.
100%.
Okay.
Little therapy there.
Little bit of a spotlight on your psyche there, but that's fine. This one I think is quite a clear cut Yes or no, to be
Oh,
honest.
okay, just a yes or no.
No, you can give
No,
more.
no,
That's absolutely
that's
fine.
fine.
Did the Hollywood Hogan heel turn do more for his legacy than the original Hulkamania run?
I think so, yes. Even for me personally, like I've said, I wasn't watching. Up until that's when I probably would have started. And I just think it gave him a bit more edge.
And Christian.
I wish.
Fine
Fine
wine.
wine.
There it is. No.
Okay.
Because I think the peak of his popularity was in the rock and wrestling era.
Okay.
Do I think he got bigger than that? Maybe you could argue maybe for a period in the NWO. But without... The reason why the NWO thing was so successful is because of what he'd established in the first place. If he was not nearly as successful in the first part, the second act doesn't mean anything.
Oh, no, I agree with you there. Yeah.
So for me, without that unbelievable foundation, the second bit's relatively irrelevant. And it's not.
Yeah.
But for me, the first one is way more impactful than the second. I preferred the second part.
Yeah.
But in terms of
Yeah.
the reason why it was taken so well is because of that, I think, anyway.
Yeah, no, fair.
To what extent did Hogan's presence overshadow or hinder the rise of other talent during his peak years?
Ooh.
Do you mind if I jump on that one?
Yeah, go on, because I've got a question for you.
You could... Yeah. I mean, he did, obviously... And he's been in interviews where he said, look, I was going to protect my position.
Yeah, why not?
Pretty much whatever the cost, because it meant that more money was going to be on his table. And I get that. I think a lot of people are like that to a point, certainly back then, maybe less so now, again, to a point. Did it... Okay, let me say this. Did it actually prevent anyone from being as good as they could have been?
Well, this is what I was going to ask you, because I don't know.
There's one. You could argue.
Apart from that earlier you mentioned about Dusty, but I don't know if that counts.
Oh, no.
But,
No, him and Dusty were never in.
but who would you...
The one that is interesting, but they're kind of like ships passing in the night, in my opinion, is when Hogan went to WCW,
Right.
there was someone on the WCW roster that wasn't getting the attention they felt like they deserved.
Okay.
And that man is stunning Steve Austin.
Oh.
Steve, well, he was fired, to be fair, because he was injured, but Steve has said that he felt like he couldn't get going on anything because it was all geared and garnered towards Hogan.
Yeah, I can understand that Hogan kind of effectively created probably a glass ceiling.
For a lot of people, yeah.
But I personally can't think of who.
But ultimately, Stone Cold still became Stone Cold. He moved, whether by choice or otherwise, moved away and became the animal that he did. So
yeah, it's not like he didn't.
And again, you'll never really know, like, if there was anyone, because what happened. I certainly think he knew how to stay in his position. Again, it's to do with reading the room and knowing when to move pieces on the chessboard.
But then is that similar to, and this is just my lack
Triple
of
H.
knowledge, I was going to say, is this similar to Triple H and say, for example, like Shawn Michaels and all that sort of stuff?
Yep, Jeff Jarrett in TNA.
I am the guy.
Yep.
No one is going to make me look bad.
Yep. Hogan just did it in such a way that Triple H would eventually still lose to people.
Yeah.
Eventually. So, granted, that wasn't great for periods, but Hogan, when did he outright lose and not get the win back? Yeah, he lost to Ultimate Warrior, but in WCW he beat him.
Okay.
Or he brought him into WCW to work him. Yokozuna, maybe, is the only one that...
Maybe.
But he beat him in 5 seconds right off the bat.
Yeah.
Can you think of someone who beat Hogan who he didn't then get his revenge on? Rock?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe is the only one.
But yeah, again, that's a different, to me, that will always be I've done, well, it would have been amazing if it was right, I'm done here. This is yours now.
How, so that leads into the next question.
Okay.
We're talking about other wrestlers. How has Hulk Hogan influenced other wrestlers both in and outside of the ring? Can you see his fingerprints around?
I would think if you didn't have Hulk Hogan, you wouldn't have John Cena, in my humble opinion.
I agree. I think the influence isn't so much in the characters, it's in inspiring people who grew up watching him to want to become a wrestler.
Yeah.
And the likes of John Cena were very much Batista.
Yeah.
Like, even Kevin Nash said he watched Hogan and went, I want to do wrestling because of Hogan. Yeah. So, in that respect, It's unbelievable. It's you couldn't probably even quantify that with he influenced X, Y, and Z. It would probably be a list that would be as long as God knows what.
And even like people like for me, I would look at when I find Hogan entertaining is when he's pulling in the crowd, he's doing the shtick, the finger wag, the Hulk up, but even just walking to the ring, everyone still loves him. And then I look at, say for example, peak Shawn Michaels. And I'm like, well, there it is. Like, for me, Shawn Michaels... He would say Ric Flair. Yeah. But for me, like, Shawn Michaels' wrestling ability, far superior. But,
absolutely.
But it's that it factor. It's that I can just come out and perform and you're going to freaking love me.
Hogan is the ultimate showman.
Yeah.
Like, Dusty Rhodes, great talker. If you're looking at an overall package, though, your brain, and Vince's brain was certainly wired this way, it's the muscles, it's the physique.
Yeah.
It's that I wonder if Vince ever thought, do you know what, I just wish his hair was fuller. Because then there's like physically
there's
no
nothing
fault
that he would have effectively been perfect
in that respect in terms of the like stereotype or the archetype of what they were looking to build.
Yeah.
So I think his influence is certainly seen in terms of the people that then came on, who then influenced another wave of people themselves.
Absolutely.
What does... No, I mean, I just don't... It's a difficult one. So what does Hogan's crossover into movies, TV and reality shows say about wrestling's relationship with mainstream entertainment? I think that's a tough one to put into context because at the time, a lot of it was kind of... Even in the rock and wrestling era, when there was appeal to it, everyone was like... It was almost like a tongue-in-cheek kind of appeal.
Yeah.
It was like, oh yeah, let's watch the wrestling. That's a good laugh kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas now the relationship is slightly more different. Everyone knows it's a put-on. Like, the hazards are real and all that stuff, of course.
Yeah.
I think the relationship now between the media is very different. And I don't think necessarily Hogan influenced that, other than the fact that he was a confident enough presence and a reliable set of hands that they could have him on a talk show and he'd do fine.
Yeah. It's that drawing people in, though, isn't it? It's
100%.
Hogan was such a big name. That's like even earlier when I said, like, my mum knew who he was. Yep. Granted, yeah, my grandma and I watched wrestling when I was at home, as did my dad. Like, but
was your dad fan as well?
Oh, my dad
or tolerated
would have watched stuff like that. My mum couldn't have cared less and would purposefully not watch it. But if we were watching crappy, like, Saturday night telly, if we'd have been watching a talk show and he was on it, she'd have watched it, she'd have listened, and she'd have been interested. Whereas now, don't get me wrong, yes, you've still got wrestlers going on talk shows and
They're
stuff.
conditioned differently, though, I think. It's not a novelty
There's
anymore.
a lot more training and whatnot nowadays than there probably was back
Media
then.
handling.
But also a lot of people now is you don't have to watch it now. Whereas back then, you got how many channels? Like,
well,
you know.
Well, I guess cable TV was kind of kicking on a bit with Hogan, but still,
yeah. Do you know
point
what I
taken,
mean?
point taken.
I don't know, yeah.
Nearly there. We're at the last two questions.
Are they yes/no questions?
Yes? This one is definitely a yes/no question in my opinion.
Oh.
Has Hogan's impact on wrestling been more cultural or athletic? Cultural.
Oh, for sure.
Athleticism, no.
No, like I just said,
strong guy.
The quality of wrestling is poor.
I guess it depends on how you interpret what athletic and cultural means, but it's definitely cultural. Definitely cultural. That's an easy question. This one, it's the last question. It's the toughest one.
Oh, no.
And we're going to leave it on this. We'll sign off after this.
Okay.
Is Hulk Hogan still a hero figure or a cautionary tale?
Bloody hell.
It's a heavy question to finish on.
That's so hard.
Oh, sorry, I'll put that away.
Oh, shush. Film it, could sell it for 31 mil.
How's the zoom function on your camera? Is it right?
It's quite good on an iPhone these days.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Can I say a bit of both? Like, I feel...
Oh, you're copping out, yeah.
Yeah, I want to be Switzerland.
Okay, neutral.
I
Flag's a big plus, though.
I feel like he is both. I feel like, yeah, he will be a legend. But there is just that tarnish, isn't there? I don't know.
Well, I think it comes back to something we've kind of... It's been a recurring theme in this show.
Yeah.
I think if you can successfully distinguish the man from the character,
yes,
he is absolutely both. The character is iconic.
Yeah.
A hero figure, fine.
Yeah.
The man, a cautionary tale, yeah.
if you're going to talk about
Even God's bleed.
if you split the two of them and have Hulk Hogan on the left and have actual Terry on the right, then there you go.
The difference is as well is where that must get blurred so drastically.
I imagine for him, he didn't know the line split between them two.
Well, as a comparative figure, if we look at Ric Flair, how Ric Flair outlived Hogan, by the way, is unbelievable. Fair fucks to him.
Yeah.
I remember Shawn Michaels being interviewed, and he said, I know Ric Flair. He said, I've never met Ric Flair, though, this is his original name. So I've never met him. I wonder what he's like. Right. Because they can't extrapolate one from the other.
I suppose once you do it for so long,
it becomes your identity.
Lose who you
Ric
are.
Flair's still living that gimmick now, and it's concerning. I hope I'm wrong. If he's not dead within a year, I'll be shocked.
I
hope I'm wrong.
He did an interview with, I don't know what US TV show it was, or US network, literally within, I think, the hour.
And he was crying, wasn't he? I saw that.
Honestly, Ric Flair doesn't really pull me into most things because I don't know, I'm just not really...
We haven't had a lot of opportunities with Ric Flair.
Yeah,
either.
and I think that's what it is. But I watched that and I was like, God, that must hit hard. Because even himself, I'm sure he's probably like, how the hell have I outlived you?
So Hogan had bars which Ric Flair was getting massively drunk in and dancing on the tables on very recently. I think if you look at professional wrestling as a whole, and just the stuff we know about the people in professional wrestling, a lot of them, and with everyone in the world, to be fair, everyone's got their flaws. Everyone's got their flaws. But the flaws of a lot of the high-profile wrestling figures, maybe, again, lesser so today, are so notable. They're almost like... I'm trying to word it carefully, because I don't think I can land quite on the terminology I want. It's almost a bit of a sociopath tendency, where there's something that's not quite wide what you consider to be normal, and that allows them to become this massive entity in professional wrestling. And Hogan, in that respect, is no different from anyone. Like, they've all made mistakes. Even if you go to the era, well, I know they crossed over, but Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, God, they made mistakes. Tell me a professional wrestler of note that is squeaky clean. Maybe Bob Backlund. I don't know. But they've all got heavy flaws that have been... So is that... Are those people drawn to wrestling, or does wrestling turn them into that?
God. I don't know.
I know it's a heavy...
But it's kind of a rhetorical question. It's kind of like, well, we
is
are
it
never
the chicken
going
or
to
the
know.
egg?
Yeah, ultimately. You don't know if putting someone in that environment for such a sustained period of time... Maybe everyone's got that in them, and you put them in that environment, and it will eventually come out to some respect. Who knows?
Yeah, and like I said, we're painting things with a pretty broad brush, to be honest, and I guess ultimately we'll never know.
No.
I think where I'd like to draw the line on this is that I would like to thank Hogan for a lot of childhood memories for me.
Yeah.
Being an only child and playing with my wrestling figures, which I've talked about before, will always remain a special thing for me as a childhood memory, and Hogan was a part of that. He was a part of a lot of it. Absolutely made mistakes, but I choose to distinguish those memories because, and maybe you can call me naive, wanting to bury my head in the sand, life is too short to always dwell on the negatives, and I'm choosing to not let that tarnish my memories, because I need to ultimately believe that there's some pure good in the world, and that character and those memories for me of childhood, that I want them to remain untouched.
Yeah,
that's where I'd leave it.
Yeah,
fair.
I think so. And also, ultimately,
my show, my last word. Fuck off.
There you go.
There we go.
There we go.
But yeah, a little bit different from us today on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I think there's a lot of thought-provoking conversation there.
Hey, and we know who Outfit of the Night was.
Outfit of the night.
Outfit of the night.
NWO Hogan are we going with?
Oh, it's so hard. But for me, yeah, it's got to be the black and white.
Okay, so controversially, I'm going Jimmy Hart.
Oh,
because we referenced him earlier.
Bugger, piss off.
But I don't want to sign this off with the usual socials. I just want to say that hopefully you've enjoyed this slightly different presentation from us I've enjoyed it, actually. It's been good to talk about it because I haven't really done that since the news broke. So fingers crossed, you got some entertainment value to a certain point out of it, and hopefully it helped you relive some of your memories of Hogan, whether it be good or bad or indifferent, I guess. So until the next time, guys, take care.
Bye.
Until next time, this has been a Win Twice Wrestling production. Peace out.